A lot of people are like, Gary, I don't want to have a personal brand. I'm like, and then you're going to be 65 and you're going to care about a nonprofit. You're going to care about a political issue. You're going to care about curing a disease that God forbid your child got. You're going to care about something as a human, and you're going to wake up, and it'd be nice to have 1 million people be able to be aware of something you care about. Everyone thinks about it as a sellout or a try hard. This is super omni. Attention is the #1 asset. Please say hello and
yes.
What you do for a living.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on, Gary. I'm Rob Gronkowski. I'm a former NFL player, played 11 seasons, 9 seasons for the New England Patriots, 2 seasons for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, won 4 Super Bowls during those 11 years of playing in the NFL. Always beat the New York Jets as well.
Gronk,
that was my favorite team to go versus. I mean, I think I lost 1 time versus them, actually, but it was a tough game when we lost versus them. It was 2011, my rookie year in the playoffs. That was their last time they were in the playoffs.
Best game of my life, by the way.
And yes,
I went to Foxborough. I thought we were going to get destroyed. We lost to them on Monday Night Football 5 or 6 weeks earlier, 45-3 in a trouncing. And to say it was one of the greatest days of my life would be an understatement. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that day so much. I could feel it in my stomach right now. It was the best.
It was not that good of a day for me, but that 45-3 game earlier that season, that was a great was a great game.
I'm sure you like that one.
But you guys also beat us. I remember Randy Moss was on the team as well. It was my rookie year, and Randy Moss had that catch over Darrell Revis, the one-hander, like a 60-yard bomb from Tom. And I was just sitting there like, wow, I'm playing with Randy Moss. Like, look at that catch. So
it was amazing.
Yeah, that was.
And what are you up to now?
And now I'm an analyst on NFL analyst on Fox. You know, the pregame show with Michael Strahan, Jimmy Johnson, Terry Bradshaw, Kurt Menefee. So it's and Howie Long. It's just a great team overall, and I'm just blessed to be in that position, to be with those guys. They've been on that show. Howie Long and Terry Bradshaw started the show about 31 years ago, and it's been the #1 pregame show on television for 31 years now straight. So it's just incredible, just an honor to be able to be on the booth with them.
Thanks for being here.
Got it. I'm Ron Shake. Different kind of athlete, probably a corporate athlete. I open restaurants. I probably opened 4,000 of them in my career. I started Panera, Au Bon Pain. I started Panera Bread. I'm the founder of Panera Bread, and grew that to 2,500 restaurants and sold it in the biggest U.S. restaurant deal ever done at among the highest multiples. And then I started an investment firm with my own money, my partners, and we were the lead investors, a lead investor in Kava, from the chairman just went public, Life Alive, Tate, something called Level 99, a bunch of different companies. So I play in a different game, but not all that dissimilar in what you got to do.
Yeah, I actually think you two represent my 2 biggest passions, right? True entrepreneurship and business, and sports. And I do think business, what makes it so remarkable is it's the closest thing to professional sports. The reason I really have a lot of admiration for athletes is they do the only thing in society that has black and white merit that's non-debatable. Meaning, you know, tonight I will go to Madison Square Garden, I will watch the Knicks and Pacers play, and someone will win and lose. And so much of our world is not based on merit. The school system, the government system, like how you analyze how your parents did, like everything is subjective. Even business gets a little bit weird. I got really turned off 4 or 5 years ago when I saw a kid I knew well say in his Instagram bio, 3-time exiting founder, claiming that was good.
Did he do well?
He lost.
Yeah,
I knew him very well. One company he sold for $1. One company he sold for everybody lost money. Like it raised at $80 million, it sold for $3 million. And the third one was an M&A deal on a nickel on the dollar. So he lost 3 times, but it looked good. Gronk has to sit here and, you know, obviously he's been unbelievably successful, but, you know, you win and you lose, and we all know it. Almost every other part of the world, but I do agree with you. At least business is close. It's 85%.
You know, we were just talking as we walked in, Gronk and I, that the real key when you're performing in front of hundreds of thousands of people, when your whole career is on the line, is how do you stay calm?
Of course.
How do you stay relaxed? How do you make it a sandlot game, even if you're playing in the Super Bowl? You know?
I think that's exactly right. And by the way, I literally, I'm making a poster right now from the front of the office is I don't need leaders when it's easy.
Right.
I have a lot of people that are my direct reports, and it's all fun and games when it's cruising. But leadership is about when it's fucking hard. And I think that's a good segue, Noah, because you've been a leader a long time yourself.
Speaking of tough, I Noah Tepperberg. I'm the co-CEO of Tao Group. We have the largest group of nightlife venues in the country, probably in the world. Brands like Marquee, Omnia, Tao, Hakkasan. We've got
all the places you like to take your shirt
all
off.
the places Gronk used to like to come to party when he won.
I didn't want to interrupt you yet, Noah, but I was going to say I've been to every single spot of yours. And yes, my shirt has been off at every single spot as well back in the day.
I'm the purveyor of good times here. I do a lot of traveling, run around the world. We have places all over Europe, Middle East, all fun, sexy, high-end types
Sounds
of
like a
places.
tough job, huh?
That professional athletes and personalities like Gary like to go. But it's a tough job. And
It's a
I'm,
tough
I'm
job.
a different type of athlete.
Yeah, actually, let's go there. We'll go backwards and we'll start with you, Noah, and we'll go in reverse. And you know this as well. Obviously, you're very much in the space. You know, things are changing in our society in a real way. Distribution is such an important part of life. You know, obviously in Gronk's world, the way sports are being consumed, streaming services, you know, all this, you know, the bidding of the NBA is about to come up. We'll be watching on different channels. How do you consume those sports? But distribution of food and experience is changing. I think the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, Noah, I think the reason you're saying tough times is in a post-COVID world, the way people are treating nightlife, the way people are treating dining has changed substantially with last mile, with private clubs, with people hooking up on dating apps instead of having to go to a club. There's a lot of dynamics in the last decade that have changed in your business, yes?
Yeah, I mean, people don't even have to go to the venues anymore to get the experience. They don't get the full experience, but just the fact that people can go online and see what everything looks like, see pictures of all the food, know who's there. It's changed the way people work. And it's a totally different environment now for businesses that are four-wall businesses like ours. I think everybody, after being told they can't go for a couple of months during the early pandemic days, decided, I don't want to have that anymore, and figured out ways to do, to at least get those experiences digitally. And it's changed how everybody operates.
I kind of disagree.
Go ahead.
The restaurant industry, food, is the second oldest profession in the world. People
Well,
have been
I don't think, just if I may, I don't think we're arguing that it's in trouble.
Wait,
I think it's changing.
I'm not. Wait, just hang with me. It's the second oldest profession. It's been about hospitality.
Yep.
It's been about service. People have been serving each other food for as long as we've been human beings.
Yep.
And the reality of the restaurant industry still comes down to that. Too often we run off on whatever is the flavor of the year. During COVID, it was delivery or online. They're just means to get to food.
Correct.
And that what ultimately people want is they want a great experience served by people that give a shit in environments that engage them. And that is really the core. It's been that way for 1,000 years, and my guess is it's still going to be that way. And I bet, Noah, in your business, it's the same thing.
I think we need to, let's double click on this.
Okay.
I agree with you in the macro principles, but let's talk about real life. And what I mean by that is New York, let's use New York City, since we're just in the middle of it right now. In a world where everybody who surrounds this little island no longer comes to it on Friday because work from home is now a real reality, I'm going to guess, Noah, correct me if I'm wrong, that your Friday nights don't look the same that they did 4 years ago.
Fridays are the one day that have completely changed, especially in cities like New York, because you don't have people coming into the office, which means you don't get the people going out to eat after work. You don't get people going happy hour when they're done. You just used to fill up at lunch and stay busy all through the day and to the night, and then people would come into town. Now you're quiet all day on Friday, and you don't pick up till dinner time, and it's very strange, very different. Fridays went from being the busiest day of the week overall to the second or third slowest.
But
day
am I
of the
right
week.
in saying that volume has moved around during the week? That you got young people in the city? I got a son who lives here.
Nope.
No?
Mondays are still slow. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, okay. Thursdays, it starts to get a little bit live. Fridays, it dies out again, which is the weirdest thing because the momentum dies on Friday. So it used to be, it builds up during the week, and then Friday, Saturday was just great. Now it just dies Fridays, but it does come back on Saturdays. Saturday nights, especially in the big cities, New York, Las Vegas, Chicago, LA, Miami, even Tampa are
but the
like
net
they've
weeks
never.
are down.
Are your net weeks down?
Yeah.
And in suburban restaurants, where back to to your point, people are going to eat.
Right. We're in urban, we're in suburban, so
right.
it doesn't matter.
But and you're also in a high scale environment. There's obviously variables of the restaurant. QSR is going to be different than a private club, than a local family restaurant versus cheesecake factories, a different model. Like there's a lot of variables. But for example, it's also margins. If you're in rural parts of the country, the fact that you're now giving a VIG to a DoorDash and an Uber Eats that 7 years ago was someone that was just coming for the capital expenditures you put into your building starts to chip away at your margin. There's a lot of pressure on the new behaviors.
Yeah, but it still comes down to having a superior experience. In the end, right? What drives the margin is actually your sales. And
but I think you'll appreciate
right?
this. This goes back to the old retail versus Amazon experience. Yes, experience. The issue is, as more people choose to deliver with these apps at home, the experience becomes commoditized because a human is delivering the food.
Yes, which is why I think, Noah, I know in my business, we're still building a cafe. We're still building an environment to sit in. Because if all we're doing is providing a dark kitchen to support delivery, what value added do we bring?
I don't think we're, to your point, I don't think we're in all or nothing.
Yeah.
But for example, and you know this well because you said at the top of this game, people are rethinking the size of their footprints. From every QSR to, right? Like people are rethinking the way they're building out restaurants. Some of the people that I see a lot of success with right now, they're taking bigger back kitchens to subsidize for delivery and smaller footprints.
And Gary, that may be in Manhattan.
Yeah.
But Manhattan isn't the country. And if we go beyond Manhattan,
I'm not referring to Manhattan.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, we're building larger front ends, larger environments. I'm contrarian.
Yeah.
When everybody's cutting down their kitchen, and McDonald's is just a drive-through, and every one of these businesses are being overreactive as a contrarian. I want to provide a space that you want to sit in. Come to any of my places because nobody else is providing it, and they're doing better than they've ever done.
I love it. I love it.
Well, speaking of that, though, actually, I just co-founded the restaurant, and I just got into that. Yes, I am. I'm moving into that business. Yes, you guys are playing football. You guys can go run around and get hit and smacked around. I'm going to join your guys' side. But I just co-founded a business, and it's just a drive-through business. Like you said, the way that things are going, the way that things are trending, and it's called Green Lane. And it's a drive-through salad and wrap joint where you can it's just started in Tampa. We just opened up our second store actually last week. I actually worked a drive-through for 3 hours and it was one of the coolest experiences ever. But just the way that it's all trending, people want their food fast, you know. They want their food that's nutritious as well, but they're always on the go. I feel like the society now, everyone is just moving faster and faster and faster. No one's just sitting back and relaxing. Everyone's on the go, trying to get in 1 million things a day that they can do. So therefore, we started this Green Lane. You can get nutritious food at an unbelievable price, under $10, either a wrap or a salad bowl. And you just go through the drive-through, you get it within 5-6 minutes, and then you're just off and on your way back to your job. So I'm getting into your guys' industry, so it's great to sit here with you two and just listen to you two, just chat and learn.
I think drive-through salads. That's an interesting one. It's probably one of the only foods you can't eat while you're driving.
There's an operator called Salad and Go. Have you seen them?
Of course.
They're great.
I know this new CMO well.
It's actually it's based very similar. It's based off of Salad and Go, and we're going to be operating in Tampa and moving along the East Coast. And yes, they're based out of Arizona, Texas, and Nevada.
I'm going to level this up for the audience. What I think the last 7 to 12 minutes spoke about is something I think about all the time, which is the nuances matter, right? All four of us are yapping here, and the reality is that there's so many different variables to every single execution. Even with like the food business, the restaurant business is obnoxiously broad. You could talk about, again, like I mentioned, QSRs, an individual having one location, and that's their family restaurant for the last 40 years. They're going to be feeling different than Salad on the Go. I sit on the board of Bojangles. I also have a restaurant group that operates in New York. So I have a ton of clients from Aspire Brands and Roar Capital. We have a ton in that world. Obviously, Noah, you've been at the forefront of premium nightlife and cuisine over the last 25 years. I think for everybody's listening, one thing I think a lot about is being self-aware and understanding what you're in. Because I know so many entrepreneurs are sitting here, whether it's landscaping, whether it's marketing, whether it's the restaurant business, whether it's collecting, whether it's being a barber. There's always 47 different variables that go into your version of it. And I think that is like how I think about the last 10 minutes. Like there's just so many ways to attack this business. I agree with you. Like I don't even think it's Quatcharian. I think that there's always multiple ways to play the same game, right? And I think finding what works for you, and to what I'm sure all of us are thinking about with our ventures as we got into this category, trying to understand how to be prepared for the next version of consumer realities, whether it is to, I agree with you. Like I think there's so many different ways. I think people will be in establishments eating food for eternity.
And Gary, if I could offer
Please.
this up, it's about being the best at something.
Correct.
In all of our professions.
Whatever
Whether
that
it
is.
be football or entertainment or restaurants, you've got to stand for something. You've got to have authority.
Yep.
There's got to be a reason people walk past all your competitors and choose you.
100%. I think about this a lot, brother, in the context of marketing. I think about this all the time here, meeting after meeting. You know, Apple. Let's use Apple. I think Apple's terrible at marketing, actually. Subjective opinion, but I analyze a lot. But I also think their product is chosen a lot, right? So, you know,
And why?
Because two reasons. One, badging. I think Apple wins on brand. I think Apple plays in fashion psychology more than people realize.
Yes.
People want to have it. It's like having a car or anything like that. And two, in the form of Apple, where Apple really separated itself was being the operating system of the app ecosystem. Having access to Uber or Instagram or all these things first was a huge factor. Where they were able to outflank Android back in the day was the apps were it was the same thing that Microsoft figured out about computers. The operating system was the moat, not necessarily the hardware. So there's a lot that goes into it. Nonetheless, I want to switch it up. Noah, as an entrepreneur, as an operator, or as a human being, actually, let's switch this up. What do you, and this could go anywhere because I want to change the tone and tenor so it's fun about jamming with friends. What are you most excited about? Like just in general.
I mean, for me at the moment, it's just building what we're doing into new markets like Tampa, like Miami. You know, I love taking what we do really well in one place and scaling it. I like to be the Disney of premium hospitality, and doing what we're doing on scale in new cities that are just kind of up and coming is what is super exciting for me.
If I hear that right, to break it down for the audience a little bit, obviously cities are changed. A lot is, you know, it will be so fun to watch documentaries and read the books that are written in 50 years when we really calibrate.
Some of us aren't going to write books on our business.
You know, but I do think it's pretty interesting. Like COVID reset so many things, changed so many things. If I heard you right, because you used Tampa, I don't know if it's because Gronk's here, which would make sense,
I was just there actually.
Or because
we were
I know
just
what's
talking
going on
about
in
it.
Tampa. Actually, one of my favorite restaurants of all time is in Tampa called Burns Steakhouse.
I knew you were going to say Burns.
Yeah, I grew up in the
Still
wine
haven't
business.
been.
When I was a kid,
there.
21, 22, 23, I heard from people like, one day you have to go to Tampa. There's this restaurant that still has a bunch of old wine that's inexpensive. Like, it was like a place I couldn't wait to get to. But is one of the things that's most exciting as a guy who played in the New York, Vegas, LA, London thing, as we're seeing people move, different things going on, do your entrepreneurial juices get going of like, oh, we're gonna be able to see some real arbitrage in some of these places?
Yeah, we love cracking the code of a new city. You
Yep.
know, being the first to bring something special there, going into a market that's emerging and defining a new neighborhood.
Yep.
I was just in Tampa for the first time in 25 years and was in the area right around your friend, the guy who owns the Lightning, developed a whole
Jeff
new,
Finnick.
Yeah, Jeff Finnick, a whole new area. I was shocked. You know, great restaurant, something I never would have thought existed in a city like Tampa 10, 15 years ago. So going into new places, finding those great locations, and figuring out how to take what we do in places like New York and scale it out to other markets is what keeps me going right now.
I love it.
Do you have any spots in Tampa currently, or you're looking to do
No, we're
something?
looking. We're looking in Tampa. We're looking in Orlando. You know, we're looking to build a hub in Florida, centered in Miami, and then out to the other cities.
Yeah, beautiful.
Ron, as an author,
coming.
as
Well,
a,
let me know. I live in Tampa, baby. I'm right there. I love Tampa.
Ron, what are you most excited about right now as a hobbyist, as an entrepreneur, as a professional, as a human? Like, what are some of the things top of mind
Well,
that
you know,
got you optimistic and excited?
Right. Well, professionally,
Please.
I'm like Noah. I just love when I figure it out.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've got, you know, through this Act 3 investment company, we've got figured out the most powerful niches of the future. We're invested in Mediterranean. Mediterranean is powerful. It's the #1 diet in the country. We got the dominant brand in that, something called Kava. It's rocking. It went public last summer.
Yep.
It's tripled in price. I've got something in upscale bakery cafe called Tate. It's Middle Eastern infused. It's from the Levant, Turkey, Israel, the North Africa. It's got authority in coffee. It's got authority in baked goods. It's got real chefs. It's powerful.
How many units does that have?
45, DC and Boston, but doing huge volumes. Got another business that is interesting called Life Alive. It's plant forward. It's positive eating. Again, somebody is going to own Plant Forward when 3% of America is eating vegetarian, but 40% want to eat more Plant Forward.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to own that.
How do you define Plant Forward for the ones that don't know?
For us, it's all vegetables. It's vegetables that are sauced in different ways.
Got it.
And so if you want to eat some more of that, and we all do in our nutritional wallet, this is a place to go. And I've got a fourth business. It's a little bit more like Noah's. We were talking about it outside. It's called Level 99. It's 40,000 square feet of challenges. 45 of them, 1 to 3 minute challenges, some physical, some mental, with a farm-to-table restaurant.
Oh, interesting.
And a brew hall in the middle of it.
It's funny. I love. We see a lot of these kind of things in London and
Yes,
UK.
I was just over there looking at them.
Makes sense. I think you're right on it. You look at Topgolf. You look at all this. Like, it feels experiential dining. Is like I think these models are going to work.
Well, I think
adult Chuck E. Cheese.
I think Noah taught us this. I mean, the bifurcation between dining and entertainment is closing.
Yeah.
And we increasingly want both. And
by the way, it's an OG thing. The Coca Cabana, entertainment and dining. Back to history repeating itself.
Yes.
Like, some of the biggest establishments of the last era, or the last 2 eras back, were fully entertainment and dining.
The convergence of the two, I think, is also fueled by young people's desire to share everything that they're doing.
Of course.
So when you go to a restaurant, you go to an entertainment venue, and it's built in a way that people can take photos and put it on their Instagram or their TikTok. Say, hey, look what I'm doing. Look where I am tonight. That's what's driving a lot of the younger generation's desire to go out and spend money. So when you put the two together and you do it well, I think you're onto something.
Ron, how about for you, brother? Obviously you're off a very fresh moment of a lot of cultural relevance. It feels like you're having like a really great moment. Like, I'm pumped for you. Like, I think, listen, I've hated you most of my life, but that's in the context of like, that's my real passion.
That's
and
good.
I
want you to hate me.
I
want you to hate
that's
me.
Right.
That means I was doing something right.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
You notice how well that hate helped him.
Yeah, exactly. But I've always enjoyed where like you always get a sense of like if you're really passionate about sports and you hate a guy, especially the way I live my life, I've been fortunate enough to get a sense of like, is that a good guy or is that a bad guy? Like, it's really fun for me when I find out an opponent that I dislike is also not the greatest dude. It's like, makes it so easy. But when you find out like they're a lovable, good human, you're like kind of just waiting for them to retire. So that's kind of like my journey with you. And it feels very obvious to me what's happening with you. Because I think you have a likability. I'm sure this is why Fox was interested in you, of all the choices they could have. I think likability is an incredible God-given gift. You got double lucky with the physical attributes, but I think a lot of people fell in love with you even more this last week. Like, with your entrepreneurial hat on, and I'm sure you must have talked to your inner circle this week, feels like inevitably there's more opportunities than ever for you to do different things. Is that something you're thinking about? Or are the things you're actively doing, like this restaurant, and obviously from fall to winter you're busy, are you busy or are you kind of on the attack for more stuff?
I'm not really on the attack for more stuff. I'm actually very excited to see everything that I'm involved with grow now.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm involved.
You got enough stuff.
Yes, I got enough stuff now. I got
Now
plenty of stuff on the table. And when things come to me now, it's kind of like, it has to be like really, really good. And I have to be wanting to be involved in it. I want to be able to love it as well in order to get involved in it. And that's why I started these restaurants as well in Tampa, the drive-through wraps and salads, because I live a physical lifestyle still. I live an active lifestyle, and I love to live a healthy lifestyle as well. And And that just goes along with it. You know, I'm always working out still. I'm going to the beach to go play volleyball, doing whatever, and just grabbing a salad or a wrap to go. That fits me perfectly.
Are you good at volleyball?
No, I'm all right, but I just love to do it. I love to stay active. And then on top of it, I'm invested.
By the way, his all
I'm
right is
invested.
I got it.
Dominant,
How tall
yeah.
are you?
6'6",
6'6". He's not good at volleyball.
I mean,
Bullshit.
I'm good at spiking the ball over the net, but
Yeah,
setting the
okay.
ball, like, I mean,
there's
it's
skill.
kind of sloppy.
Gary,
I can do
who
it.
would you bet on?
I can do
Bet
it.
on? Gronk versus Noah and Ron, or Noah and Ron versus Gronk?
Well, I don't know if you know this. Noah's one of the great volleyball players in New York. So I would
Really?
actually go
Two-time
Ron.
All-Pro.
Really?
Two-time.
We're
So
gonna
I would
have to
go
play.
Noah, Ron.
We'd be a good combo. I can play
I don't
front
know.
net.
You may go Noah versus
You can play
Gronk,
back.
but
I
not
got a
Ron.
good head. You can spike
Yeah.
right off it.
So you're kind of trying to double down on the stuff you got.
Yes, and then also my dad, he's been in the fitness industry selling fitness equipment commercially and retail for 33 years now. And when I won the Super Bowl versus Seattle, we actually started a little branch off of that called Gronk Fitness.
I remember.
And it was all the accessories that we were selling. It was just a branch off of my dad's. And now we're really got momentum going, and we're going to continuously grow it. And we're having a big launch coming up this September where we have a whole new product line of Gronk Fitness dropping, and I'm super excited about that, and that just fits along with everything that I'm doing. I love to stay active, like I said, love to work out still. My family, they all run the Gronk Fitness business as well, and just G&G Fitness
Yeah,
is
you have
my
like
dad's
795
whole
brothers,
thing.
right?
Yes, I got 4 brothers.
Yeah.
My brother Dan lives in Buffalo, runs the whole Gronk Fitness department. Then my other
Is
brother,
he a Bills fan?
yeah, he's a Bills fan. I
What
mean,
the
we all were
fuck?
growing up. We all were growing up.
Wait, Gronk, I didn't know
Yes.
that. You're a Bills fan?
I grew up in Buffalo, so
Makes
I was
sense.
a Bills fan. But right when I got drafted to the New England Patriots, like I was
That must
not
have
a
been
Bills
crazy.
fan
No shit.
anymore. Like
Of course.
like it just got
What'd you-
zapped right there on the
What'd
spot.
your family do? Did they
Yes.
go with you or stay with Buffalo?
No, they went with me. But my dad, I swear, was secretly like a Bills fan a
Yeah.
little bit. Like he loved when they did well, but he wanted me to dominate the Bills. But then when we weren't playing the Bills anymore, he was cheering for them to do well.
Do you,
because
Gronk, let's actually have
Yes.
a real moment here. Deep down, do you think that your dad, since he was such a real Bills fan, when you guys played the Bills, wanted the Bills to win, but for you to score like 3 touchdowns and have 200 yards?
No, a couple of
wanted
my
the
friends
Patriots
were
to win.
like that though. But my dad was not like that. He
Can you-
wanted
can
me
you-
to win
can
and
you-
have 300 yards, have 3
Got it.
touchdowns still.
So
but
can you give a shout out to those friends? I want their full names because these are real men that I admire.
yes, well, one of them I went to Pittsburgh my senior year, and my friend Barry Layton.
Okay, big shout out, Barry.
Yeah, he's a Pittsburgh fan. And before every game, he would tell me where he was, and he'd go up to the bus. You know how you drive through the parking
Yeah.
lot? He'd be sitting there flicking me off. His friends would be mooning me. He'd be
good.
saying "F you" to me,
I like
and I'd be
Barry.
like, "Dude, you just effed up, brother. I'm gonna fucking score 3 touchdowns on your ass now." And then I would score 3 touchdowns. He's like, "Bro, I hate you. I wanted you to score 3, but the Steelers needed to win." I really didn't have any friends like that in Buffalo, even
Okay.
though I truly grew up in Buffalo, and
Yeah.
Buffalo's my true hometown. There's no one like
Are you
yo,
a Sabres fan or you don't like
Big
soccer?
Sabres fan.
You
I'm
are.
a huge hockey guy. I'm
Okay.
a big
Never met a
Sabres fan.
Sabres
The
fan.
Sabres haven't been into the playoffs. They're the longest tenured team to not make the playoffs in the NHL, like what, 14, 15 years it is. But
No, it's not that because the Jets
yes.
are the longest tenured North American sports franchise to not make the playoffs.
No,
and
it's
so
longer.
they're 13.
No, it's
The-
longer than the.
Gronk, how
I
much
think
mon-
so.
Gronk, right
Really?
now, I want to bet
Wow.
you money that matters
Actually,
to both of us.
I think the Sabres went to the playoffs in like 2012.
Yeah, be careful,
maybe.
Gronk.
No, but
You're
they
walking
might be
into my
longer.
fucking
I
territory
know it's for the
now.
NHL though. They're the longest
Yes,
tenured team not to go
that's
for
correct.
the NHL. But the
Guys,
last
I
time
almost
they
won
went to
some
the
money.
playoffs, Lindy Ruff was their head coach,
Yeah.
and guess what? They just hired Lindy Ruff. That was a big hire. I was excited about that, big time. And then another thing I'm actually involved in is a new recovery hydration drink coming out that I just got into big time. It's a recovery organic drink coming out. It's all on the West Coast right now.
What's it called?
Lance Collins started that. He started Body Armor, sold that, and now
Yep.
he's redoing another thing. So I'm involved in that.
That's
Super
cool.
excited about that project.
I think I'm an investor in that also.
Are you as well? I had a feeling someone would be here at this table. So I'm an investor.
Recovery 180.
Yes, Recovery 180. So right here, baby.
There we go.
So I'll be
See?
representing
We're
the
partners.
product right here. We're partners. That's what I'm talking about. We've been partners our whole life. We didn't even know. I was at your clubs. We're kind of being
You were a
partners.
contributor.
Yes, I was a contributor. That's more
Talk
correct.
to me.
So
Actually, I'm going to go around. This actually, I'm going to be a little selfish now, but I know it's going to bring value to the audience. Where do you sit on social media marketing? Where do you sit, Noah, on how much time do you, all three of you, this will be really fun for me to hear. Let's start with you, Noah. Where do you sit with social media marketing? Meaning, you can take this in any direction. We want to do more of it. It's the hugest driver for us. We haven't figured it out. like any mix of that, or TikTok this, or YouTube that, or where do you, Noah, sit as a professional with social media marketing for your business?
Let me bring it back
Please,
first, because you
please.
said you don't think Apple's good at marketing.
Correct.
I actually don't think Apple does any marketing. They only do advertising. Okay, we
Fair enough.
believe in marketing and
Yep.
do no advertising. And for us, all of our marketing is social media, 100%. And in nightlife and hospitality, I think.
Let me ask you a
lot of
question, because I have
people-
so much love for you.
A lot of people don't know the difference.
Let me,
yeah.
fair enough. But I would argue, with all due respect, we're getting into semantics a little bit. I know what you're saying there. Let me ask you a question there, all of it social media. How much does your group spend on paid media in social, not on the organic posts from all your establishments, if anything?
Very little.
Right.
Tiny amount.
That excites me.
We only do it for things like recruiting.
Yep.
But not actually to bring in people to our places.
That interests me as a for instance, because knowing your business and knowing how strong local advertising is, specifically on Meta, Facebook and Instagram, and I'm talking about things like $1,000 a week for like a specific location that might have softening customer count, something we're talking about. Okay, so organic social is like the driver of your
It's
business.
the driver of everything.
Please,
So
please.
I'm going to agree with Noah.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to add this to it.
Please.
All effective marketing is about talking to you individually. The more individual I can talk to you, the more relevant it is, the more powerful it is.
Relevance is the game.
Therefore, mass marketing is not going to be as effective as individualized social media, where I can touch you, Gary, you, Noah, you, Gronk, individually.
Yeah,
So
but if you
obviously
don't-
that's where you're going.
Sure, but if you don't pay for media, the targetability of an organic post goes to where the algorithm sends it.
Yes.
So you're back into mass media dynamics of going for awareness versus
but that's
relevance
why
at scale.
what you're doing with your social media matters, right? It's a much more effective, targetable media, and I think that's really the
you have
point.
so many, excuse me, so many startup investments that are pretty advanced. They're not early startups anymore that you rattled off, that are all have the great ambition to replicate the iconic execution you created at Panera. In today's day and age, those different brands that you just mentioned, Kava, Level, when you look at the four organizations, obviously you're not the day-to-day CEO of those companies.
I'm not.
So, which is a whole different game than
It
being,
is.
me when I sit on boards, I like almost forget about biting my nails. I almost eat my whole hand because I'm not in control.
Yeah,
and I'm
but I own
des-
more of them than I own to Panera.
Well, that's
But another
a different
discussion.
story. That's called growing up and figuring it out.
Yes.
When you look at those four brands you rattled off,
Yes.
you feel like all of them take it serious. Some are better than others. What's your kind
They're
of?
all. I mean, in every case, some are better than
Of
others.
course.
right? Some are much stronger. Some are larger. Kava is, a very large, significant company today. There's a powerful organization within there that's driving social media.
Yeah.
And that's very different than something like Level 99, that's much smaller, much
Sure,
more
starting
intimate.
point.
And it really depends
Yeah,
on
I
where
get it.
they are in their curve and their maturity. I mean, using Gronk as a metaphor, some of my businesses are playing college ball and others are.
And
are
Gronk was
playing,
completely out of control in
NFL.
Arizona. Like completely, he was so talented. He fully mailed it in. They should have. You know how much better that those teams should have been. Gronk, admit that you and your boys were goofing off way too much, and you guys should have been better.
I actually admitted that last time I saw my quarterback, Willie Tuatama. We were at the spring game at Arizona, and we were like, man, we were so talented. But I was like, sometimes we just loved the nightlife a little bit too much. Yeah, we
have
all
no
did.
idea.
Everyone,
You have no
everyone.
idea.
We love
From the
when Gronk
linemen
came
to
into
the
the club.
receivers
That
to the
team,
defense to the
so I gotta
quarterback.
admit,
We
so
had
much
we
better.
we had a
I
great
know
team
it.
in
I
college.
know football.
We did, and
Yeah.
we did pretty well. We went to a bowl game for it was the first time University of Arizona went to a bowl game in 10 years. We won the Las Vegas Bowl, and we went like 8-5 that year. We were like number 22 in the nation.
You guys could have been 11 and 2 easily.
Yes, we could have
if the
been,
frat parties
definitely.
didn't seduce you.
Yes.
So I got a question for you, if I can ask.
But hey, we lived it up.
How did they control you from partying, from playing? When you're playing in a Super Bowl, are you out at night?
No.
Super Bowl?
No,
No.
definitely
No,
not.
not
Like
even
we went
Gronk.
to the Super Bowl.
Not
Like
even Gronk.
after we won the AFC Championship
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
I
the
mean,
night off.
you would go out that Sunday night, enjoy it, but then right when Monday hits, you're back in the building, and then the Super Bowl's 2 weeks later. You're not going out again until after the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that whole persona of, I'm going out every night is definitely false. It's not what everyone was portraying it to be. But I would pick and choose my times when to go out, especially when I was younger, when you could really do it. When you're in your young 20s, 22, 23, you can bounce right back. You can go out Friday night, bounce back on Saturday, play a game on Sunday, and still beat the Jets by 40.
Would you watch yourself? Grunt, what about you? Your personal brand, like you, and then the businesses, different strategies evolved. Do you do your own social, or do you have somebody on your team? How do you think about it?
Wow, that actually is a good point. Myself is a brand. Myself is a business. It started when I was 20 years old and got drafted, to the New England Patriots. And I didn't really realize I was a business until everything starts folding out, everything starts playing. And, you got to take care of yourself. You got to perform on the field. That was the number one thing, for my business, which was myself, my body, my mental, physical attributes, everything like that is going out on the field and performing. And then everything else was coming along, endorsement deals, this offer, go over here, we're going to pay you to go to this birthday party. And then I started really noticing, wow, like I'm my own business. How can I grow myself and all that? And I always knew I had to take care of business out on the field. That was always first. And then everything else will come along. So
I think listen, I'm in the business. We have a sports agency. Actually, we literally just announced signing the New York Jets starting tight end Tyler Conklin for our sports agency, back to tight ends, the Jets and Patriots. To your point, a lot of kids, especially kids now, because they're much more savvy about business and marketing, don't realize, like, if you're not playing well, no one's coming to you.
Exactly.
Like, it's not complicated. But once in a while, someone's attractive enough or goofy enough off the field, once in a blue moon.
kind of like the DeVito situation.
Yes.
Yes.
Once in a while. But for the most part, if you're going to do business, if you're going to get marketing deals, if you're going to get treated well in these establishments, winning and performing is the cost of entry.
Exactly.
Yes?
You got that right on.
Yeah, and I think
You
even
hit it
like
right
knowing some of the kids we recruited for VaynerSports that ended up, I'm thinking about one guy specifically, great guy. That's why I'm not going to name names, but I think was too ahead of like wanting to do marketing deals and wanting to be an entrepreneur. And I always thought, like, if the kid just spent a couple extra hours watching film for his game on Sunday, all his dreams would come true instead of trying to get all the other stuff before, because it's the foundation for an athlete.
Exactly.
Gary,
Please.
success is the byproduct.
Always.
All the good things that happen, they're a byproduct of the important end. You got to play. When you go out on the field, you got to be great. When we open a restaurant, we got to have food that gets you excited, people that care, environments that engage you. When I go to your nightclubs, I'm not coming for your success. I'm coming because it's a powerful experience.
Oh, I thought you were going to say first girls. Like,
but that's part of the experience,
Yeah,
isn't
no
it?
shit.
Right? Why is he allowing the right women in?
Gronk, why are you doing your own social, or do you have somebody on the team? How do you think about your social?
I can definitely do a lot better on my
I thought
social,
so.
but I never
I
been
think it's
a guy.
a huge opportunity
It
for
is
you.
a huge opportunity, but I never
Does
been
it
a
come
guy.
natural?
It can come natural. It comes natural sometimes, but I've never been a guy that was like, hey, I'm going to explode my brand off of social. I've always like, hey, I'm going to explode my brand of just me being me out there in the public, out there, out on the field.
What about now? You're not on the field.
Now, it's kind of like the same thing, man. I've definitely picked up on the social since I stopped playing, but it's still not to the level that it needs to be or that I could go to. But I never really wanted to sell myself like behind a computer, behind a screen, and that's why that's how I always saw it. And if you have a product that is getting talked about without even trying to promote it yourself, I think you have a home run then as well.
I would not do a service to all my buddies that nerd out about football that listen to this show without getting football nerdy for a few seconds. Couple quick hot takes. One. Has there been a day since you've retired? You obviously kind of weirdly retired twice, right?
Yes.
Like, obviously you came back, and obviously there's a lot of circumstances there. That's not what I'm interested in. Since the actual retirement, it seems like you're not coming back at this point. Have you ever woken up and be like, fuck, maybe one more year?
No, not since
good.
I've retired my second time. No.
How about
I'm
the
good.
first time?
The first time I always knew I was going to go back to football.
Got it.
Yeah, I always
So that
knew I
was-
needed a
got
year
it.
off. I was
Got
beat
it.
up, I was banged up, but I kind of started finding new ways. It's kind of like re-innovating yourself. It kind of like you guys do in the restaurant world. You guys got to react to whatever situation is presented to you. And I knew I had to take a year off of football. I was banged up. I was mentally and physically beat down.
Did
But
you consider retiring the year prior even?
even the year prior, I almost did
Interesting.
it. I was probably about 80% retired the year prior, but that 20% got me hooked to go back.
Got it.
And I'm so glad I did because we won a Super Bowl that year versus in Atlanta versus Los Angeles Rams. But even that year, that was one of my most difficult years. It was 2018, my last season with the New England Patriots. I had a down year. I had about only like 500, 600 yards. And we won that because we came together as a team. And I would say we didn't really have the best team in the league. There's no way. We did not have the most talented team. I had a down year. I was supposedly the most talented guy on the field on the offensive side of the ball, but I had a down year of 600 yards. Like, that's terrible for, the guy that's supposed to be the playmaker on the team. But we came together as a team. We found out ways to win. And also, I would say I found a way to contribute to the team in the blocking game in other ways. And that was blocking. We were running the ball behind me. We're setting up plays where play action, would set me up on a little dink and dong of just going 4 yards out to be able to get a first down instead of me going deep anymore either.
Who was the guy that you want to give roses to, that real talk, you feel you were such a tough player to defend? Who do you just kind of feel like did a good job defending you?
Oh, man. First off,
Anyone stand out?
In the NFL, I mean, it's kind of how you feel that day. When I'm not feeling good, I see this with a lot of players. That's why you see some guys 12 tackles one game, the next game they're unheard of, or they're just getting burned down the field.
Right.
The NFL is hard to sustain that high level of play week in and week out because you're getting banged up.
Yeah,
you're getting hit. You don't know if someone is limping, if their knees hurting, if they got a quad contusion, if their shoulder's out of place. And that's why sometimes you see some guys absolutely fail some weeks in the athletic world because they're beat up and you're like, what's wrong with that guy? And then the next week, they're feeling better and boom, everything's clicking. Their body's totally activated and you can't get behind that defender. Or you see that wide receiver making plays 200 yards that game. Sometimes you see a guy 200 yards and the next week 10 yards.
Yeah.
So I would say that has to do with a lot about how you're feeling yourself personally. And when you're feeling like a guy like myself, when I'm on top of the game, I don't think anyone can cover me out there out on the field. But when I'm feeling beat down a little bit, I mean, I feel like anyone can cover me, even a freaking defensive end. I've been covered by defensive ends before in my career. And then I have had a defensive end try to cover me. And when I'm feeling good, I blow by them by 6 yards. So it's all about how you're feeling in the NFL. And you can get banged up so easily, even at practice the week, week up going to the game.
Interesting. Noah, what anything you want to bring awareness to, or anything that you want the audience to know about that's going on in your world? Just want to give you a minute for that.
I think first of all, thank you for having me. This is an incredible group of people to be sitting with. It's great to hear Gronk talk about his personal brand and being an athlete. For what I do, going out multiple nights a week, having to host people, being, all over the country, Las Vegas, New York, Miami, out till 2 a.m., up at 9 a.m., 8 a.m., 7
Maniac.
It's a grind.
It's a different type of athlete.
A grind, yes.
People ask
no
me,
doubt.
hey, you're almost 50. How do you go out so often? How do you fly all over? And I say, just like how does a marathon runner run a marathon? I train my body to be able to, go out late and wake up early. I love saying it's not about who's out the latest, it's about who's up the earliest. And I'm sure with the athletes, it's the same way, right? It's not about who can, cover the most every day, but who gets up that next morning and gets out there early. And, I'm also a big proponent of paying real attention to my personal brand. I have my brand as the CEO of a company, and I have my personal brand. I think social media is very important for that. Everybody, feels like they know you from what they see online. So I do think, Gronk, like putting a little more attention into what you're putting out there, especially now that you're not on the field. The less I go out, the more I need to, do things on social to stay in touch and let people stay in touch with me. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think the attention can be deployed to different things, right? Like when you think about, Gronk, you think back to being 22, or no, you think about your earliest days, like the things you cared about in the club in your 20s, or the things you thought about your rookie year. You didn't know as much. Things change. I keep a lot of people like, Gary, I don't want to have a personal brand. I'm like, and then you're going to be 65 and you're going to care about a nonprofit. You're going to care about a political issue. You're going to care about curing a disease that God forbid, your child got. You're going to care about something as a human. And you're going to wake up, and it'd be nice to have 1 million people be able to be aware of something you care about. Everyone thinks about it as a sellout or a try-hard or this is super omni. Like, got it?
Good point.
Like, right? Like,
Good point, brother.
I'm super empathetic to where you're at. But again, just like today, you're thinking about totally different things. When you're 70, you're going to be thinking about totally different. Please.
Excuse me, I'm
Please.
70.
Are you?
Yeah.
You look
Really?
great, brother.
Yeah, you do look
I
great.
wouldn't have go there.
No, I
Good for you.
am. I'm proud to say I'm 70.
You should be.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
I
something.
can't wait to be fucking 70 and
Well, we'll slow
razzle
down.
these
You're
kids.
in a rush there, right?
No, I'm not in a rush.
I'm half
But
your
I'll-
age. I'm
wouldn't
35.
Mind, all right, I wouldn't mind being 35.
Yeah, respect.
Having it all over
being
again.
Of course.
35
But
again,
you know,
too.
wisdom comes from experience. Experience comes from banging your head against the wall.
100%.
You know, and there's a certain joy. I share with you this.
Please.
In the end, I worked much harder when I was younger, but I have much more fun today. I do because the joy is in figuring it out. And one of the things I've learned is the core of everything that we're talking about is tell yourself the truth, actually figure out what matters, and then no bullshit, get it done. And that's sort of the way I approach all of this and think about it.
I love that. You know, actually, here's a fun one, especially for you, Ron. What do you think I think about this a lot, even at 48, because I was in the game so early and I had so much success this is back to being like an athlete a little bit, I've always thought. I had so much success in my early 20s.
I was public at 27.
Yeah, so I know this about you, so I think this is going to work for you. What do you think, with all that success,
Yes.
and when you're 27, you have that level of success, not that you have to be high on your own supply, but you definitely have confidence. You're like, fuck, I know what I'm doing.
But you know-
let me just get to I apologize. I want to get to this.
Get it out.
What do you think today you think that young you had most wrong? What back to experience and wisdom. What do you think you personally most learned? Because again, back to all four of us, and I think I want everybody to hear this. All four of us also were naturally gifted in some ways and then put in the work to maximize those gifts. When you do that, something that comes along is you have confidence. You have confidence that you're good at certain things, and what that can do is hide a vulnerability that you later find out through. Let me give you mine. Mine was, I didn't realize that not being candorous with my employees I used to think of it as I was really nice, but in hindsight, it left a lot on the table both for them and me and the company. And I've gotten much better in my mid-40s. This is a new phenomenon for me. I'm much more, as GaryVee, the public figure, it's my biggest strength. I fucking shoot it. But with my employees, if I care about them, I struggle telling them they sucked because I hate fear. And so I really learned that lesson. What do you think your biggest lesson was in your incredible career? And sitting here at 70 saying, okay, my 20s and 30s, I really thought this, and in hindsight, it was actually this.
Trust myself. Trust my inclinations. So often when you're young, you second guess yourself. You don't know. You obsess about it. And as you
Overthinking.
overthinking.
Dying on someone else's sword, right?
And,
Taking someone's advice.
Understand, listen, I've been in this battle for 50 years. I'm going to keep going as long as I'm healthy.
Yeah.
And things are going to work out. They're not going to be. They're not going to fail us.
Gotcha.
And I think the other thing I would just offer up is strength comes from humility.
100%.
Right? This whole world in which it's pounding my chest, bullshit. It's
Nobody
actually
gives a
those
shit.
people that are strong and competent and good actually know it and have the ability to be quiet and soft and let their work show.
And
for
really
them.
own it. Accountability is so attractive.
Absolutely.
Like,
It really
Ron,
is.
what about for you? You're a young dude, so young still, but like, anything stand out? I mean, obviously so much of your career was playing professional sports, but you've done a lot of business. You've been very entrepreneurial, back to your brothers and all that stuff. Anything let's use business or like, marketing or business. Anything stand out so far of like a learned thing?
Yes, I like what you said, Ron. You got to trust your gut. You got to trust your instinct. There's some businesses, there's some endorsement deals I've taken where I just went to grab the money, but really deep down I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm doing it because my agent is not forcing me to do it, but
Encouraging
me, and not forcing, but very encouraging me because they want
pushing you in the direction of doing a
question to me.
Tide ad.
And really, I like Tide. Tide was cool. I'm not with Tide anymore, but I like doing the Tide commercials.
Tide, if you're listening,
Yes.
we're interested.
But just deep down,
hold
just
on.
doing things.
Hold on, I don't know if we know this.
Yes.
Is it
what do we
someone's
got
birthday?
here? Yes, it is.
Happy birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Let's sing it.
It is.
Happy birthday.
Wow.
Look at this cake. Look at this cake. To you. Happy birthday, dear Grom.
Go Jets. I can't believe I would ever say that. But I did not mean that. I was just saying it says Go Jets.
This is the best cake.
I don't know if I can even take a bite.
It's bad.
It says Go Jets on it. I don't know if I
if you
can
don't
take a
blow out
bite.
the candles, it's 30 years of bad
All
luck.
right, I can blow out
go
the
ahead.
candles. Man, incredible. Thank you, guys.
All right. Good work,
I
team.
love this
Thank you.
office. I love this office. Yeah.
You want to work out of here?
I need a job here. Can I get a desk over there?
100%.
There's no room in this office.
Yeah, there is no room.
We're good. We're good.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Go Jets cake here. I'm very happy about this. It's the best birthday cake ever made. Well,
Does smell delicious.
I really like this
Happy
combo.
birthday.
I like this combo, brother, of going for the dollars, like not feeling it in your stomach. It's a really interesting one for all four of us. Like, it's funny that this is a topic. I've said to many friends over dinner, in couples dinners, we get to hang out a lot. Not dying on your own sword is the worst. Nothing. When you lose and you decided, you made the decisions, you tried to figure it out, you can live with that. You fucking live with it. Mm-hmm. Man, when you take someone else's point of view because you didn't have the confidence in your intuition, and then it doesn't work out, you're dead. Mm-hmm. You're like, fuck this shit. I think it's a really interesting topic. Noah?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all share the same philosophy of you can't just do things for the money. You have to do things that you love. I can't tell you, how many times we've been tempted to open a place in a certain location because the deal was so good, even though in our gut we knew it wasn't the right place or wasn't the right product. The other thing I would say is just looking back, like the 48-year-old Noah wishes I told 35-year-old Noah to balance things out a little bit better. I was so gun-ho every night that this had to be the best weekend, this had to be the biggest party, we had to have the biggest opening, that I didn't balance, what I should have.
No, you were a crazy mother effer, I bet, back in the day.
You can
just listen to you say
you
that.
can
I
curse
love
on
it,
this
though. I
show.
totally understand, because
I had to run.
I lived the same way at one time, man. I wish I could say no. If I could go back, I would have said no to about half of the things that I did.
Yeah.
And you still got the rest of your lives to actually live.
But
that.
it's not
That's the key.
It's not
That's
it's
learning.
not a sprint. It's a marathon, and pacing yourself, not feeling like you got to get it all in today, taking care of yourself. Personally, if I had taken better care of myself when I was in my 30s, I'd be able to do more of what I like to do now when I'm going into my 50s. So just that balance, finding, for me, I found a great woman.
I'll get a little philosophical for an old man. Something I learned watching my parents die. The key to life is that there is a judgment day. And if you don't die of a tragic illness, you're going to have a judgment day. And the time to have that judgment day wasn't like my parents in the 9th inning with 2 outs on their deathbed. The time to have that judgment day is when you're 70, when you're 48, when you're 35, and you still got an opportunity to figure out what it is you're going to respect
I agree.
on your deathbed.
I agree.
Wow.
I think about that a lot, brother.
Well
It's
said.
funny. As someone
what
who
your legacy
equally
is going to be.
it's funny. As someone go ahead.
What you're going to respect.
Yeah.
Because what ultimately matters is not what the world says, not how much money you have, not how much they love you, not how well your business did, but what you think of yourself.
100%. It's the biggest opportunity for happiness. Playing, I say it all the time, like when you play within your own cocoon, it's so fun. Because the reality is that, first of all, here's an important part. Let's get philosophical. Nobody knows you. Even the people that are closest to you, parents, spouses, siblings, deep down, we sit here as 4 men right now, we know there are things that not one human on earth knows about us fully.
Yes.
Definitely not experiences. There's lots of those for sure with this crew. But 2, just even actual things. And that gets to the point of most people live their life based on other people's judgments.
Yes.
When at the end of the I couldn't be a bigger buyer of this topic.
Yeah, and I'll share with you something else. 25 years after we're gone, nobody's going to give a shit.
25 hours.
It literally.
By the way, there's
Right.
by the way,
25 days.
family, yes, but there's some
Baby,
pretty.
my kids, yes.
Listen, all four of us in different ways have plenty of people that know of us, think of us. I'd like to say admire us. There's a lot of love. By the way, this hit me super hard when Prince died. I remember it very vividly. Prince passes away. 24 hours of incredible outpour, but the world got so fast, right? Like I just, back in the day, I'm gonna go Lucille Ball. I'm gonna go back when I was a kid growing up. The world was slower. You'd get a week, 2 weeks, tributes. I remember the Michael Landon, right, from Little House on the Prairie. That was like 2-week media cycle. Now,
Bonanza.
right?
That's really
right. Yeah. Now, the biggest people on earth, 24 hours. And like I said, forget about 25 hours. Like,
You're right.
and it's real, and that's great, and that's okay. And to your point, that should make everyone excited because it should liberate them from overvaluing other people's opinions. And we all do it. We all do it. I have no judgment towards anybody else. Who are we? It's back to your point, brother. I'm a big buyer of a lot of stuff coming out of your mouth. I think humility is the unlock to all happiness. Yes. If you're humble enough to know that you mean fucking nothing, it actually makes trying to be something incredibly fun instead of stressful.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
I
final.
can tell
Please.
you love what you're doing, Gary. I could tell, man.
You listen. We've got to know each other serendipitously recently. Mm-hmm. Like, I got very lucky. I love people, and I've come to realize, my God, people don't feel that way. Like, people really struggle with people because they themselves are insecure, and so other people affect them. So much of our issues politically, socially, and just like, I don't know, I got so fortunate. Like, I'm being serious about this. Yeah. I really like people. Like, in like a weird, like I see people loving dogs like this. I know you love your dog a lot.
I love
like,
my dog.
Like, I actually talk about this a lot. We always joke, like I always make this joke that's a little tongue in cheek, like I don't like dogs. And the point I'm trying to make is I wish people liked each other the way they like animals. Yeah, I do like it, but I like life because I like people. Like I like all people. I like being out and about, but not like at the club. That's fun too. But like even at the airport, like being in line at shop at some supermarket, like watching what people. This is why I like being a marketer. I like how people think. Why did they grab that cantaloupe? Why did they go to that restaurant? Are they wearing that jacket? Like my why, and coming from like a good place instead of like, there's so much, insecurity in the world.
Mm-hmm. You definitely like people. You're very curious too. You like knowing what drives people.
Yeah.
I love people too. I would never have done what I did if I didn't love being around people, introducing people. One of the best things that I look back on the last 30 years and can think about all the people I've introduced, people who've met each other at my places. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of.
Getting married, business deals, right?
Yeah, people have met their wives, their husbands, their business partners, their mistresses, whatever they want at our places. And looking back, that's part of the legacy that we leave.
Yeah.
I love where people say, I met my so-and-so at your place, or it's the best place I ever went to when I was 21. And it's all because I love people.
Well, I think in some way all of us are about impacting other people.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Touching other people.
I think that's right, Ron.
I would say I love people as well. And we love people that are around us that give us that driving force, that make us want to be inspired, that give us that energy that we've been looking for. But then there's also a lot of people out there that are vampires that are sucking that energy from you. And those are the people you don't want to be around. And you kind of learn throughout your 20s and your 30s. And hopefully when I get into my 40s, I have a whole cast around me that's just people that are just making me want to drive.
Really old, huh?
Yes, when I get really old. But
really grow up.
Yeah, you want to be around people that give you that juice.
Right. And I think you have to be self-aware. One of the things I've done poorly in my life that I'm trying to get better at is I love providing impact and value, sometimes to a fault. I always joke with my family, I'm like, man, if I was born a woman, I would have always gone after the broken dude and I'm gonna fix him. Like there's a charity component, even as an investor. I had to be honest with myself at some point about 3 years ago and look at it. And I did very well early on when I didn't think I was an investor. Facebook, Twitter, I'm pointing to my stock certificates. I crushed. And then somewhere along the line, I decided I was an investor, and really what I was actually doing was charity work. I was investing in people
You thought
to
you could
help them. Like, and then I was like, no, I need to start a foundation. I could just do charity work. Like, you've got to be, some of us, when you're good natured, you attract that too. Like you're attracting people that are trying to take because you've got something to give,
But that's
and you're
enabling,
willing to.
right?
What's that?
Don't you think that's enabling of it?
I believe it the most.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it back then. Now I think it's fully enabling. It's enabling bad behavior. Anyway. We could sit here philosophically forever. I do want to give each of you an opportunity because over the next 3, 4, 5 years, there will be millions of listens to this. So Noah, anything you want to send people to, or anything you want them to be aware of?
No, I think I've said a
Good?
lot.
Good. Fine. Ron?
Plug my platform.
Good.
Very excited to meet you guys. This is
this is
very,
great, man.
Very cool
I feel
conversation.
like we definitely had to meet each other
We've
before.
had a couple shots.
Have we had?
We've had a couple of
But
shots.
neither one-
We've had a couple shots
Yeah,
together.
we've had a couple
I knew it. I knew
Ron,
it. I knew
Ron,
we had
you've
to somehow,
Ron,
some way.
It's not that special. You've had a couple of shots with every
We've been
person
to a couple.
in America.
We've been to a couple of the
Well,
clubs.
this is nice to meet you in
Yeah, he's the
person
best.
now.
He's the best.
Yes.
You guys should be real friends. Ron, anything? I know you have a great book. Like, anything to talk about?
No, nothing to pump other than to say, life is short. Do things that you respect. Do things that matter to you and make a difference with other people. That's where the joy comes from. Whether you're on the field, whether you're in a club, or whether you're feeding them.
It's awesome. Ron?
We've talked about
Yep.
plenty, but there's something that my girlfriend and I co-founded. It's boomerang.com, and it's a online sweepstake platform.
You own Boomerang.com?
Boomerang.com with a V.
Got it, okay.
And we
It's like, how much you
we
pay
have a
for that?
sweepstake going right now, actually, and it's to win 2 tickets to the Olympics in Paris this year. You get your whole round
Nice.
trip paid for, your airfare, your
fun.
hotel, everything. You get a gift certificate to spend as much money as you possibly need when you go over to Paris. So if you go to boomerang.com, you enter there, and it raises a lot of money for charities as well. I started
Great.
the Gronk Nation Youth Foundation about 10 years ago, and that's the charity that we are raising awareness for through this platform as well. So it's just all good things, man.
Nice.
And all the good comes back when you give out the good to all those that are in need out there.
Boys, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Gary. This is great, man.